All right, so we do this segment every week or two where we roast your guys' deck lists. Your Yu-Gi-Oh deck list, try to show you guys a snapshot of the meta, since the Yu-Gi-Oh meta is always changing week to week, especially branded and other decks. So we want to show you guys off the text and also just like roast, give you guys ideas of what's good and what's not right now, and help you guys overall build your deck list. So first deck list here by GZ1K is this Whitewoods list. Whitewoods toy box. Very nice, very nice. Whitewoods toy box. I think that, oh, Whitewoods Witchcrafter toy box. Holy crap. See, the Witchcrafter cards are cool. They're like just extenders, right? So I'm assuming they work, like, do they, like, what is the synergy between them and the Whitewoods cards would be my wonder, because like I obviously the synergy is there with toy box. Like, you send the toy box cards to the graveyard with the Whitewoods monsters and they just plus off each other. So very good, right? They all pitch spells for cost. Oh, so they all trigger Asteria. That's interesting. Framing is interesting because you can just search off Amritara, which you can make since they're all lights. I'm presuming be a little bit of an awkward one because you'd have to do Sylvan Rose, but 3 tactics. It's interesting, but you can also go into Dragoon, which is cool because you have the Muddy Mud Dragon, which I've been seeing a lot with the Whitewoods cards, because you can, because Muddy Mud Dragon counts as any fusion substitute is basically its effect, and then confuse. So it's a really cool way for synchro decks to bridge into a fusion deck. It's kind of like what we are gonna definitely use in branded Whitewoods, in my opinion. It's just kind of free. Interesting list. I think maybe not enough non-engine to compete. That's the thing, only 3 tactics. It's gonna have a really hard time going second, but still very cool list nevertheless. And we always love to see you cooking. Mr. GZ1K. All right, so now we have Dom's dueling book screenshot of Kashtira Fiendsmith, apparently. Oh god, this is an abomination. So 3 Ash, 3 Fenrir, 3 Rise Art with 1 Ogre. Ogre is interesting in there. Plus 3 Unicorn. And then why is there a Boots? Why is there just a random Boots here? Is that to send off a Cherubini for like a Link extension? I assume not, because you usually, in a build like this, you go Draco. Like any rank 7 gets you to full combo, because you can make Draco Sack with tokens and then link off to Moon or like whatever you need, Cherubini. And then you have the Fiendsmith cards, which are cool. Then you have the rank up spell. Oh, you run it for the rank up spell to get into Kali Yuga. Got it. Plus the Disarray. This deck looks like an abomination, I bet. It's just Kali Yuga Turbo. Got it. Is there anything else we need to say? Yagi here. Shout out to Yagi. We have his branded list here. Let's roast this. He did give me Asteria, so I can't roast it too hard, right? No bias. 3 Albaz, 3 Shrouded, 2 Cartesia. We love the 2 Cartesia, the 3 Aluber, 2 Quem, 1 Mag, 2 Saranir, 2 High Spirits. I think at 50 cards, the 2 High Spirits with a little bit lesser of a bestial count makes sense. I still think 3 High Spirits minimum is going to be the standard, though, for sure. And then, like, 3 is better for, like, a 60-card build. And then you do run the 1 branded in red, which makes sense in a 50-card build. You're never really going to need the 3rd or the 2nd. And a lot of the time, you just, like, don't want to brick on Brandon Red as much. As good as Brandon Red is, like, it kind of requires you to play the game. However, it is still very good to help you dodge Imperm. It's very good for the crackback. So I think, like, running the 1 makes sense. You do have Gold Sark with Called By with no Foolish. I think Foolish is the weakest out of all the singletons and branded spells. You are running a pretty big board breaker package of Book of Eclipse, Droplet, and Dark Ruler, which is understandable. It's like the Marat deck. This is kind of like Marat's deck list, so I think overall this kind of list works. And then 1 Duplication, 1 Retribution. And then you have a pretty standard extra deck with the Masquerade in the extra, which is cool. I've been seeing a lot more extra Masquerades in the main, which is interesting for sure. And then we do have the Lane Darkness Dragon plus the Banishment for playing around Shifter. It's also very good going first, so it's interesting to see that on the side, I will not lie. But you do have the Blazing Branded King plus the Black Coat plus the Tikaboo for all your going first options. My man is just choosing the Floodgate route instead of like the multiple fusion duplication route or like Nadir Servant to help you go first. I think you always do need cards in your side deck, your extra deck, to really help you go first, so definitely helps in that respect. And then the Cosmic is cool. I would take out the, I mean, I guess you could run Droll over Molchummy, so this works. So overall, I like it. I would probably just say the Light and Darkness Dragon plus the Bashment could probably get removed for the side. For something like, I think you need like another hand trap to prevent the FTK. So something like Imperm, or Imperm would go really hard, or even Nib. I like the Cosmics though. It's something I've wanted to consider personally. So it's very good to chain on Disarray because they don't get their negate if you chain on their Disarray. All right, Hamza's. All right, let's not look at his tabs. So, oh, Boku no Hero, a fellow Chad. That's all I needed to see. So, shout out to My Hero ending soon. So, yeah, 54 cards. We love 54. 54 is actually my favorite number in Branded. I think it's like a nice little between 60 or not. Hamza, take note on the budget and 0 thrust. Otherwise, criticize as freely as you want. And what do you think about Nadir? Well, I think, like, you just saw my man, Jorge, just kind of, using the hand trap brand. You know, I think, like, hand trap brand is just fine. He wasn't main decking thrust. He was siding it, so for that reason, I don't think you need thrust. I think you could run other cards. I think the Nadirs really help with more fusion duplications like you have here, plus the Maximus, and then you do have the Allure of Darkness, plus the High Spirits, so I think all those cards kind of synergize together. Might be a little bit too much spells, though. I do see a lot of green, so you probably want to up your dragon count on some level, but go to 3 Shrouded Dragon at least, 2 Quem. I mean, this is like a budget version, so you could keep it at 1 Quem, maybe 3 Cartesia at that point. And then I do think you need like a couple more Saronniers, like 2 Saronnier at least, and then 3 Albion. You could cut this. I mean, Super Poly's cool. You don't have other board breakers. So I'd just say Book of Clips would be better than Super Poly at this point. And just take out, because you don't have Mud Dragon either, so Super Poly's not that great. So I'd run Book of Eclipse over that and then take out 1 Talons. You could even take off a couple Fusion dupes at that point and put them in the side. Like, it's up to you, but I think without Thrust, 3 Fusion dupe probably makes sense overall. He's just like drawing Thrust anyway, right? So I think the 3 Fusion dupe you can keep. I'd just like add more Darks for Allure and High Spirits and add Eclipse over Super Poly. Then take out Talons. 3 Albion. Shifter on the side is very spicy. It's something I've seen in other branded decks. I've actually debated on this for this format because it has to be good, right? It has to be good in our deck right now. So I just think like without, you would have to side out the Nadirs. That's why I presume you're siding out immediately for the shifters. I just think you need Dragoon if you're gonna run a shifter in your main. That's just me though. Yeah. So solid list. Just make some adjustments and you'll get there. You could go to 60. If you went to 60 though, you would have to put in Desires, and then just like add the other cards I mentioned. All right, next deck list. CD Sonic. How's it going? How's it going, bro? So we have a 50 card branded list with Book of Moon. That is something spicy because, of course, Book of Eclipse is, I think, our best card right now, our best board breaker, because it's like a Called by the Grave for Imperms and Veilers and Ghost Mourners, which are currently being mained in most decks that can play hand traps. So I think that running Book of Eclipse is very good right now. It's also a big board breaker, but my man was like, nah, we're gonna look at Book of Eclipse, which baits an Ash and also wipes the board, and we're gonna run Book of Moon. That's as much roasting as I can give you on that. Outside of that, it's actually a really solid list. I would just say like Book of Eclipse is really better than Moon. It's just flatly better than Moon. Obviously it can't be Ash, but like that's fine. If you bait Ash with Book of Eclipse, that's fine. Like, that's actually like a good thing that can be Ash, in my opinion. And Book of Moon can't save you, whereas like if you set Book of Moon, you're probably not turn skipping them. With Eclipse, you have a much higher percent of turn skipping them with it. So I do think that you should remove that for Eclipse, and then you should maybe put Droplet down. You should definitely put Talents to 1, put Droplet down to 2. Just too many board breakers. You're going to brick going first and have a bad time because of that. Obviously, drawing Super Poly and Droplet aren't bad, though. And they're all quick plays, so obviously you can set these cards if you brick on them, so it's not horrible in that respect. At least, like, it's not Molchummy or Dark Ruler. At least they're quick plays, so I see the logic you're going with that. I would just say Eclipse would be better than Moon, and then you could do Dark Ruler over Super Poly, so that, because Dark Ruler is just like really good right now. I think Dark Ruler is the best board breaker, so you want to run Dark Ruler one way or another. I think Droplet's really good, but you force way too much card advantage out with that card. Besides that, I mean, maybe a couple more Bestials, and that's all I could really say. Second Quem, obviously. Very solid, though. You are running Garura Muddragon, though. You would be able to fit a lot more extra cards in, though, like Alba Lenatus. And also, it looks like you're cutting something, which I can't think of right now. And you know, having those concessions in the extra deck is sometimes a big, is sometimes not great. So I would say you would probably be better off just taking that out, though. And then you do have the side deck with the 3 sphere modes. Sphere mode is based. I don't know how good it is, but you know, Marat said in theory it was pretty good. So, and then you do have the, I don't like siding extra deck cards personally unless it's Masquerade. So I'd probably just take the Alba and, like I said, cut the Super Poly for the Droplet, because Droplet, I mean, or sorry, for the Dark Ruler, because Dark Ruler just hits a lot more and Super Poly does not board break. Right now, it doesn't really board break. It won't end the board unless you're going against, like, Desiree Turbo and you have Lost up on the board. It's the only way that Super Poly really hits, because then, like, Lost will make the Desiree trigger its graveyard effect. But if you don't have Lost on the board, you just went neg, Super Polying. Slendermancer said, I love Ogre. It gives you more if you see it. What's up, Slendermancer? I appreciate you, brother. My trusted mod in the chat. That was a very fun Kelly Yuga Turbo deck that you submitted. Breakup Magic? Hell yeah. Clips Ashable, Moon Knot. Yeah, exactly, Slender. That's basically where we're at with that. 3D Barrier seems a bit excessive too. D-Barrier is not that great right now. Like, even calling Fusion against Fiendsmith doesn't really do anything, so I'd just take that out and get better. Things like Nadir, more Fusion duplication would be better for going first. Plus it's better against other decks. 3 Cosmics I can't even hate on. But I think you do need stuff for the FTK, so I think you need to make room for, like, some Nibs, some Imperms, or else you're just losing to Gimmick Pup FTK, or else you're just losing to Fiendsmith FTK. So you guys gotta realize, like, you will have your extra deck is gonna, or your side deck's gonna fail in this format if you don't have hand traps in your side. Like, if you don't have any hand traps in your side, like, just know I'm gonna be roasting your list, because you need hand traps in your side deck right now. If not, like, you are playing a coin flip game of does your opponent FTK you or not. Games 2 and 3, or if you're playing against Gimmick Puppet. So yeah, it just is what it is. That is the format. Just letting you guys know now before it happens to you. You see, that's the good thing about not doing well at Nats. I think someone asked me what my record was. It was X3 by round 4. It was not good, but I was able to talk to a lot of top players, all the top branded players too, and we all just kind of like, you know, I came to the conclusion that you want to focus your deck for still going first, but while still having board breaking in the back pocket, and then have some spice with, like, Molchummy in the side, and also just, like, you know, having the correct board breakers is really, really particular. Like, Book of Eclipse, Dark Ruler is just so good right now. Best hand traps decided. I mean, I just did a deck profile. I would say all the hand traps I had in my deck profile are pretty good. Imperm, Nibiru, Ash Blossom, Molchummy are the ones that you should be considering. If you don't have Molchummies, Droll is definitely something. There's also other spice that we're going to be going over after Euros, because I don't want to spoil Nightfall's goo. Shout out my boy Nightfall. Shout out my boy Raul. Good luck to all those goats, those European goats. Shout out to Angra. Hope everyone does well at Euros this year. I'm hopefully going to live stream Euros tomorrow, but I don't know if I'll be awake for that. No, you're good, Corey. That's why I repeated. I figured. I'd say overall, Ash Blossom is the weakest out of those. And like I said, you could do Droll over Molcharmy if you don't have it. But ideally, I think the best side deck hand trap package is Molcharmy, Nib, and Imperm. You need 9 hand traps in your side. It's 6 to 9, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, Marat did it, but, like, I think, obviously, Marat's list worked out for him that day. So it's like, it was a very good list. I just think, like, overall, when you're testing a lot of this format, hand traps do perform the best in the side in our deck right now, because you need something to answer the FTK, whether it's from Fiendsmith, whether it's from Gimmick Puppet, you know. And a few Gimmick Puppet did win, you know. They're very good against Tenpai too, the hand trap. So let's see this list. 3 Albaz, 3 Cartesia, 3 Aluber, 2 Merc, 3 Sarnier, 3 Albion, and you do have what do we have over here? I think I see a Maximus, a Kit, and then a couple other cards I can't quite tell. We do see the Nadir, so obviously that's a Maximus. 2 High Spirits with the 3 Dark Ruler. Love to see it. 2 Branded Red, 1 Lost, 3 Branded Opening, 2 Talents, 3 Brand Fusion. No thrust, so we're looking at a thrustless build with 3 allure, plus 1 called pilot, plus 1 gold sark. So we see a lot of people just opting to cut the foolish burial right now, which is understandable, it being kind of like the weakest one of, and gold sark being way more diverse. I do think I like seeing people back on allure though, because I think allure, like I said, with Molcharmy kind of power creeping Droll and Lockbird, like what do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to go neg 1 and make your opponent not search, or do you guys want to go +2 and let your opponent still play the game? I think the other option is a little bit better because it allows you to at least like break a board, you know, or at least draw into your other hand traps rather to stop the other things, because a lot of the time Droll just doesn't turn skip. So I think playing allure is just fine right now. No one's gonna be drolling you really, and then 3 fusion duplication is just good. You have the branded sword too. I love to see it. I like branded sword with the allure darkness, so that's good. Plus the high spirits. Have you seen the combo guide with branded sword, guys? I would be curious. It's a very good combo guide, guys. And we're gonna be releasing we're releasing a 6-hour branded guide on, I believe it's tomorrow or Monday. It's all edited out. One of my most lengthy it's my longest video ever. You guys are gonna love the video. 6 hours of just learning branded, everything you ever needed to know in branded in that thing. Also, I'm gonna be doing a both spreadsheet master guide for Raul's spreadsheet, which is like the best branded spreadsheet out there. So I'm very happy to be able to put that into video form. And you guys are gonna love that too. So yeah, the side deck or extra deck's pretty good. Just remove. And Gruber makes sense. Can't quite tell like some of these cards though. Like, I don't know. That looks like a Boral, so I like that. Masquerade is like fine. Then you do have the Magnum up plus a 2 Droplet plus 3 Droll plus the Feather Duster and the Cosmics and the Blazing Brightest Branded King, and then 3 evenly matched. I feel like you're missing some side deck cards. Am I wrong about this? Yeah. Yeah, there's 2 missing, but that's okay. We'll just pretend you had nibs there. No, thanks a lot. No problem, Hamza. And Wild Moon is still on testing grounds because I like the one-to-one interaction with Moon. I understand with Moon. I'm thinking of 1 talent for another Bestial. Yeah, I agree. I think 1 talent for a Bestial would go a long way. You just can't have too many green cards when you're running like things like High Spirits. You still have to have a good ratio of like, you know, Dark Dragons or whatever. Even at least light spellcasters being like the next best High Spirits target, you know. So we do have the top 32 South American Peru list. This was from a few days ago. This was before Fiendsmith though, but it has 3 fusion dupe in the main with thrust, which is cool. Definitely a cool list. So it shows that you can still run 3 fusion dupes, kind of like the Yuri tech or Nightfall tech that we saw going on last format. Crossout's in the side. I don't really love crossout right now, but obviously like it can work. I think crossout's like way better if you're on the hand trap package. If you're only crossouting like Ash and D barrier, I don't know. It's like really difficult also to even justify crossout right now because a lot of people are just FTKing with things other than D barrier. They're just FTKing with like Primal Archfiend, like different dimension ground. You can't just side all those. The Brightest Blazing Branded King, great card. Evenly just being a mainstay and then some droplets on the side. I can't even hate on it. He does only have 3 Dark Ruler, which is kind of crazy. Not that many board breakers, but he does have the Allure, so Allure gets him to his board breakers. Here's Owen's list from a few days ago. Nadir with Dark Magician, very cool. He's siding Dark Magician, which is something I will just off the bat roast my man for, my channel member, Owen. Love the man, but you should not be siding Dark Magician. I know it's something maybe to try out, but like you should either main it or not. Like you could very much obviously just cut the Elvalinatus or even a Stapelia at that point. His Dark Magician kind of just fills the void of like that shifter out. So I do like the main a lot though, because you have Book of Eclipse plus Allure, some of my favorite cards in brand, plus Nadir. You don't have Dark Ruler though, but you have Dark Ruler on the side. I would say you could probably take out Sword, Brightest, and like White, and then just put in the Dark Rulers. Just have a bear going second. Otherwise, with the Nadirs especially, it's not looking like the best going second potential with this kind of list. 2 Aluber might be a bit rough too, but I think works. 1 Quem, like I said, probably it's always 2 Quem unless you can't afford it. But I do think Dark Magician has a big spot this meta though, because no one's really on Zelanta anymore. They kind of made that extra deck concession in a lot of these Snake Eye lists. So you know, for access codes. So I think that not a lot of people are on Typhon either because of that. So I think that overall Dragoon got a bit better because those 2 cards aren't in the meta, which were 2 cards that just kind of insta-outed Dragoon. Brand White's cool. It's a great top deck. Brand Sword is great too. I just think like you need cards going second that are pretty good. Good for going first and going second. That's why I like Allura. That's why I like Book of Clips. That's why I like High Spirits. So I think those are the kind of cards you should be focused on with Branded, Brand High Spirits. Or Brand White, Brand Bryce Blazing, Branded King, and Brand Sword are all great cards. They just aren't great going second. So side deck though, the Ogres are cute. I would just say these should be nibs. They don't stop the FTK like nib or imperm would. So I'd take out like the Dark Magician package and then just put in like some nibs with like banishment, then put in like a imperm over ogre. This is Branded Millennium. Shout out to Zelda Duelist. This is an interesting roastable list. He's running 3 Aluber, 1 Albaz, plus the Exodia pieces, plus the Millennium Engine, plus Relinquish for some reason. Why is the Relinquish in there? Then he has Branded Fusion plus Opening. All fusions plus a few links just in case. This is such a funny deck. I don't even know how this is supposed to function. Like, what's the point of the branded cards in here? Do you, like, send a piece of Exodia to the graveyard? Here's Kendall Brown's deck list from a few days ago. He said, here's the list I'm working on right now. I don't think 60 is the play with how much draw we saw. Takes inspiration for the Talk 16 list with a few updates just based on my IRL card pool. I mean, fair enough. I just think also the fact is people are going to be playing Molchummy over Droll, so I think 50 is still fine. I don't think you need to be afraid to Droll personally, so I kind of don't agree with the premise. I really wish I had streamed earlier, guys. I just want to stream all day. I know it's getting later. I appreciate everybody still hanging out. I think we're gonna have to definitely double stream and like have another one tomorrow, guys. Always remember we do stream on Twitch as well if you want better quality. You want to help me get Twitch partner over there. Weird deck, so Droll not that good then. Yeah, Droll's not that good right now. Like, Droll is only good with another hand trap on top of that, and as branded you don't have the ability to see 2 hand traps all the time. I also think Molcharmy is just a better card in our deck. It gets us cards rather than neg us. We are a mostly 2-card combo deck, guys. You gotta remember that. So having more cards in hand to break board is still a great thing. I do like this deck. You have Molcharmy in the side, but you can't run Molcharmy and Droll though, because Droll says you can't draw, Molcharmy says you can draw. So these should be nibs. That's just a deck building error. Besides that, I really do like the deck. I think you have some going first options here with the Duplication, Banishment, Brightest, and then D-Barrier with the Board Breakers and the Bestial. Bestial being the best hand traps right now, so like you should max out Bestials wherever you can. I think Druistorm's just fine. Dark Ruler Eclipse is very good, so shout out to Kendall. I do really like his main deck's perfect, honestly, for a 50-card list. Perfect. This is the 50-card list I would run. Asteria too. So we do have the Whitewoods Goo. The White Forests are taking over Metagames GX Central. Miraza and Wild just replaced 1 talent with a Baldrake. Completely agree. Villa, new branded player, buying my cards and hope to test them soon. Hell yeah, let's go, Villa. Welcome to the branded gang, my man. Congratulations. What kind of build are you going to be going for first? Do you have like a build on like YuGiOh? Oh yeah, we just can we just review yours? So like, yeah, no. Definitely good luck with that. I would say, do you play at locals? Do you play online mostly? I'd say definitely get some test hands in, play some games, run some games on Dueling Book. The branded is a deck that rewards a player's time investment in the deck. So definitely just like getting interactions in, like getting miles with the deck, you know, running games will just go a long way. Just learning how your deck interacts into other decks is like the #1 way to learn a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. So definitely best of luck with that. I would say learning rulings and technicalities, like knowing that you can chain Cartesia after Boral load to get free fusion fodder and a free pop, because Boral doesn't need to pop both cards. So, you know, just little things like that, or like branded loss protection ruling windows are very important. I do have a how branded loss video that I made in the past. I would recommend checking out if you aren't already aware. Also do have a huge guide coming out, 6-hour guide on branded, so very much might be something you're interested in. All right, let's check out some of these newer deck lists. All right, so we have Slayer's deck list here. Shout out to Slayer, channel member Slayer in the chat. Really do appreciate you, my brother. You also did shout out to Slayer. He donated like $10 when I was even streaming the other day. Thank you, bro. We do have like the best community out there, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm not trying to even cap on that. I'm just like so lucky that I have this channel, and it's one of those things that was such a pleasant surprise, because I remember when I started this YouTube, it was very much just like, I'm gonna give myself 2 months And if nothing happens, then we're just done with it. Because all my other previous YouTube ventures had not really worked out too well. For whatever reason, just not being focused and being a young kid. And, you know, you guys really just start coming through. And, like, I met just so many people through Yu-Gi-Oh! That I can't ever see myself not also doing Yu-Gi-Oh! And YouTube at some capacity. Like, maybe it won't always be like full-time. Like this isn't even full-time right now, but like I am able to put in a lot of effort right now, so I do appreciate that, and that's all because of you guys, and just the love and support that you guys show me on a daily and weekly basis. So thank you all for being the best community out there. No prob, brother branded brothers. Team Sidra, too bad you don't play Cybers. Would be nice to get your input on my list, because I'm gonna try to get top with it. I mean, I will I'll review it, Sidra. I used to play Cyber Dragons back in the day, so this was before the new support. And I'm familiar with how Cyber Dragons work. It's really cool to see, like, I love when people are like, I'm gonna bring my favorite deck to an event and use it, because like that's what I'm trying and win with it, because that's what I'm trying to do with the branded. I want to show you guys that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is such a wide open game right now. Like, the power between the best deck and your favorite deck is not that big as it used to be. So like, you can really top with any kind of deck if you put in the time and effort with it. So I love that energy, Team Sidra. So I really do. I wish you luck with your with trying to top with Cyber Dragons. That's a deck though that you will get support for in the future. When it does, like you know, everybody watch out. So still would love to see the list if you do have it, but I don't know how much like great input I can really give you. To be fair, since I'm not a Cyber Dragon player, I can give support on most meta decks, but Cyber Dragon is just not something I'm too familiar with. I test with so many people that play other decks. I play against so many other decks. I could definitely like safely critique a Snake Eye or a U-Bell deck, or really any of the top 10 decks. Villa, I play with my friends. I want to play at locals, but I'm kind of new, so I want to get some experience first. That's a good idea. I think I didn't go to locals for a few weeks when I first got branded, just to get a feel of the deck and play until I could actually just like go about a turn without just like shitting my face. Pack got me into branded, but you made me want to play the deck. Aw, I appreciate it. Pack is a great Pack's awesome, man. Shout out to Pack. We had him on the branded cast actually a few weeks ago. If you haven't checked out that episode, go under my podcast playlist after this is done, Villa. Go listen to that. You know, shout out to Pac, man. He really was really just rocking that deck super hard for a while there. So big slapside swap Droll with Imperm, fair. I mean, if you're not on Mulchummy though, I think Droll is just fine, but still think that's why Mulchummy's better, because like you can't play through Mulchummy. Team Sidra, I believe the main deck is good, just the side needs to work. Well, I could definitely help you with the side. I'm very good with side decks. I'm very good with ratios and deck building when it comes to branded. Like, that's definitely one of my, not saying I'm the best, but like, I love theorying. And I think about things, I look at deck lists on a daily basis for my YouTube. So it's just like, I feel like I have a pretty good idea of like what, you know, constitutes a good side deck in like the current meta, which is always changing every like whatever every week or so. And then evenly with the Droll, 3 Dark Ruler, 3 Eclipse, 2 Brand High Spirits with 1 branded in red. Very solid list. I do like this Slayer. I'd say at 50 cards, this is very clean. This is actually basically why I would run at 50 cards. Maybe too many. Maybe I'd drop the droplets for like maybe another Bestial plus High Spirits personally. That's what I would do over Marat's list, but it's very close and it works for Marat. You run the Droll plus Nibiru, which works with the Magnuma, and evenly with Cosmics with 1 Nadir. I do like the 1 Nadir. You took that from me, brother. I've been running 1 Nadir in my build. I just didn't include it in the build today. I was like, I'm gonna run a Shaddoll Dragon instead.